The day the sky changed forever began like any other. Children laughed in schoolyards, workers hurried through city streets, and the hum of daily life filled every corner of Earth. Yet, somewhere far above the atmosphere, a fleet of alien ships moved with deadly purpose. They were massive, dark, and unlike anything humanity had ever seen. They hung in orbit silently, almost ominously, as though waiting for the world below to notice their presence. No one saw them at first. People carried on with their routines, unaware that every eye on the planet would soon be glued to the sky. And then it began. Across the globe, news channels broke into emergency broadcasts. Headlines flashed. Unknown objects in orbit. Governments on alert. People stared at television screens in disbelief. Satellites reported readings that were impossible, ships made of materials unknown to Earth's science, moving faster than any human craft. Panic spread quickly. At first, it was subtle, hesitant phone calls, whispered conversations, nervous glances toward the sky, but it did not take long for fear to consume humanity. Governments issued statements urging calm, but their words felt hollow. Military experts admitted openly that nothing in human history could match the technology looming above. The aliens did not communicate at first. They only hovered, watching, calculating. And then, without warning, the first message arrived. Every communication network carried the same cold words: surrender or perish. Resistance is futile. The message repeated in dozens of languages, perfectly clear. Humanity was no longer at the top of the food chain. Earth was now under threat, and the beings in orbit were beyond anything humans had ever imagined. For days, world leaders convened emergency meetings. Scientists worked around the clock, searching for weaknesses, trying to find a way to defend the planet. Engineers scrambled to launch new weapons and satellites, but it was hopeless. The aliens' technology was far beyond human reach. Conventional weapons barely scratched the hulls of the massive ships above. Panic turned into despair. Many civilians prepared for the worst, stockpiling food and supplies, praying silently for a miracle. And then the miracle, or perhaps the impossible, began to happen. In the dense jungles of South America, a roar echoed across the canopy. It was not a roar made by any animal known to science. Birds scattered, trees shook, and rivers trembled as a massive shadow moved beneath the leaves. A creature taller than any building emerged. Its skin was rough and armored, its eyes intelligent and aware. Scientists monitoring the area were stunned. Instruments detected movement impossible for its size. The creature's attention did not turn to humans, nor did it flee from the low-flying alien drones. It moved toward the direction of the first satellite strike, and then, astonishingly, it destroyed the drones with a single swipe. News of the event spread quickly. At first, many dismissed it as exaggeration, a hallucination, or a hoax. But soon, other sightings followed. In the deserts of Africa, enormous serpentine creatures slithered from the sands, striking at alien ground forces. In the oceans, titanic creatures rose from the depths, shattering naval vessels that attempted to retaliate. Even in the frozen poles, massive beasts long thought extinct moved with purpose. Humans watched in awe. Fear mixed with wonder as the realization set in. Earth itself was fighting back. The aliens, however, seemed confused. Their weapons, their strategies, their precision, they all failed against the monsters emerging from the planet's hidden corners. Some of their scouts were destroyed before they could report back. Some soldiers simply vanished, taken by creatures so enormous that even their advanced sensors struggled to capture the full scale. In the midst of chaos, humanity began to glimpse hope. Small groups of survivors learned to observe the monsters' behaviors. Some creatures seemed almost intelligent, protecting humans without reason, as if understanding the value of their lives. Explorers and scientists risked venturing near these beasts, cautiously studying them. It became clear that these were not mindless predators. They responded to the threat of the alien invaders. Earth itself seemed alive, and it was no longer indifferent to humanity's survival. As humans struggled to regroup, the aliens escalated their attack. They fired massive energy beams at cities, obliterating structures with terrifying precision. Populations were displaced in hours. Yet whenever a human settlement faced annihilation, a monster often appeared, striking at the attackers in a display of raw power. Entire alien squads were torn apart before they could even react. Humanity had no control over these creatures, no way to command them. And yet they were saving lives in ways humans could not imagine. Amid this chaos, a few individuals emerged as leaders. Scientists, military officers, and ordinary civilians recognized that survival depended on learning, adapting, and respecting the strange allies Earth had produced. Among them was Dr. Elena Morales, a biologist who had spent her career studying undiscovered species. She realized that these monsters were not random anomalies. They were responding to the threat, almost as if Earth had activated a defense mechanism designed to protect all life on the planet. Elena gathered a small team and embarked on a daring expedition into one of the jungles where a massive creature had been sighted. They observed it from a safe distance, marveling at its movements. It was intelligent, deliberate, and aware of the alien presence. When a small alien drone approached, the creature destroyed it effortlessly. Humans hiding behind trees could only watch, hearts pounding, as the monster protected the forest and them in the process. The news of such encounters spread like wildfire, offering humanity a glimmer of hope. For the first time, fear was tempered by awe and courage. Humanity began to understand that they were not as helpless as they had believed. If Earth itself was willing to fight, perhaps humans could learn to coordinate with the planet's hidden forces. However, the aliens were relentless. They adapted quickly, deploying massive warships and more aggressive tactics. Entire cities burned as the invaders sought to crush resistance. Humanity faced difficult choices: flee, hide, or fight alongside creatures they could barely comprehend. Panic still gripped the masses, but in pockets across the globe, humans began organizing. They observed the monsters, learned their patterns, and even began leaving signals, fires, flares, and sounds, hoping to attract assistance in the moments of attack. In the deserts of Australia, one young man named Jai led a small group of survivors toward a giant rock formation where a massive creature had been seen. They hid in the shadows, trembling as alien drones swept the area. And then, from behind the rocks, the creature appeared. Its eyes glowed in the fading sunlight, and its roar shook the ground. Jai and his group felt an inexplicable sense of safety. The monster moved to confront the drones, and in seconds the invaders were destroyed. Word of these events reached global news networks, and humanity began to rally. Fear was replaced with determination. People realized that the monsters were not random. They were responding to the danger, and perhaps they could be allies. Across cities and towns, survivors whispered about the possibilities. Scientists theorized, military strategists revised plans, and ordinary citizens began to hope. Earth, long thought fragile and insignificant, was showing its strength. Despite the emerging hope, the situation was far from resolved. Alien fleets still hovered in orbit, massive warships capable of annihilating cities at will. Humanity's armies were tiny and poorly equipped in comparison. The monsters were powerful but unpredictable, and no one could guarantee they would act the same way again. Fear remained, lurking in every corner, but it was now tempered by awe. Humans were beginning to understand something essential. They were not alone in this fight, and Earth itself had awakened. As night fell across the globe, the stars shone down on a planet in turmoil. Cities were scarred, forests shook, oceans churned, and deserts trembled. Humanity had glimpsed the unimaginable power of Earth's hidden defenders, and for the first time they dared to believe that survival was possible. The aliens had arrived, thinking Earth weak, but they had underestimated the true monsters of the planet and the humans who would learn to fight alongside them. The night ended with uncertainty, but for the first time in decades, hope burned brighter than fear. Humanity would not go quietly. Earth itself had responded, and together, humans and monsters were readying themselves for the battles yet to come. And so, the first chapter of resistance began, not with weapons, not with armies, but with the awakening of a world that would no longer stand silently by while outsiders threatened its children. The days after the first attacks were filled with confusion, awe, and a fragile sense of hope. Humanity had seen the monsters of Earth rise in defense, but no one yet understood why they had appeared or how far their power extended. Governments struggled to coordinate relief efforts, while scientists raced to study the creatures that seemed to be both saviors and mysteries. Dr. Elena Morales continued her work, traveling from one site to another, observing the monsters. She noticed patterns in their behavior. They were drawn to danger, but not indiscriminately. They avoided areas with no human presence, moving deliberately toward conflict zones where the aliens struck hardest. Some seemed to recognize individual humans, responding to signals of distress or protection. These observations filled Elena with both excitement and determination. In Africa, a massive desert serpent had destroyed an alien scout base. Satellite images showed the creature's massive coils crushing machinery and ships alike. Local villagers, who had first fled in terror, were now cautiously approaching the creature. leaving signs of food or simple offerings. To the amazement of scientists, the creature did not attack them. Instead, it circled the area, patrolling the desert as if guarding it. Across the globe, similar patterns emerged. Forests, oceans, mountains, all had monsters defending territories where humans survived. This newfound allyship did not mean that humanity was safe. Alien forces adapted quickly. They began deploying heavily armored ground units and advanced aerial drones that moved faster than anything humans could comprehend. Entire cities burned under their attacks. Military units, though valiant, could do little more than survive skirmishes. Ordinary civilians hid wherever they could, praying that the monsters would intervene. And more often than not, the monsters did. In the jungles of South America, Dr. Morales and her team faced one of the largest creatures yet seen. Towering above the treetops, with limbs thicker than any human building, it moved with surprising grace. The team approached cautiously, careful not to alarm it. From a safe distance, they observed the creature tearing apart alien drones that had entered the jungle. Its eyes, bright and intelligent, seemed to focus on the machines, not the humans. The sight was both terrifying and exhilarating. The humans began learning to signal the monsters. Flares, sounds, and light patterns became basic tools to attract attention or warn of danger. In some cases, the creatures responded with deliberate movements, guiding humans to safety or attacking approaching aliens. Coordination was primitive, but it worked. Small enclaves of survivors began forming, learning to work alongside Earth's hidden guardians. Meanwhile, in the cities still under alien threat, humanity struggled to organize defenses. Soldiers and engineers worked tirelessly, modifying old technology and constructing makeshift weapons. They had little hope of defeating the alien armada with conventional means, but they could delay them, harass supply lines, and buy time. And whenever humans were cornered, monsters often appeared, tipping the balance in subtle but decisive ways. In Europe, a small town on the coast faced imminent destruction. Alien warships had bombarded the area relentlessly, and evacuation seemed impossible. The townspeople huddled together, fear evident in every face. Suddenly, the ground shook. Waves crashed violently as a massive sea creature erupted from the ocean, destroying the nearest alien ships. The townspeople watched, speechless, as the creature moved with intelligence, protecting them and guiding them toward safer locations along the coast. Humanity began to see the monsters not as wild animals, but as allies acting with purpose. As humans adapted, the aliens responded in kind. They sent elite reconnaissance units attempting to understand the monsters, but every plan failed. The creatures were unpredictable, yet coordinated in their attacks. Entire alien patrols were destroyed before they could transmit intelligence back to the main fleet. Frustration spread among the invaders. Their assumption that humans were weak and insignificant was shattered. Earth itself had become a weapon, and humanity was learning to wield it. Across the globe, the story was the same. Humans were small and fragile, but the monsters acted as extensions of the planet's will. From the jungles of South America to the deserts of Africa, the icy poles, and the depths of the oceans, life that had once seemed hidden or mythical now stood against the alien invaders. Humanity realized that their survival depended on understanding and respecting these creatures. It was no longer enough to fight for themselves. They had to fight with the planet. In one daring mission, Dr. Morales and a small team traveled to an island in the Pacific where multiple monsters had been reported. The creatures there were massive, some covered in armored plates, others with wings that spanned hundreds of feet. The aliens had established a temporary base on the island, hoping to control the surrounding waters. Morales and her team observed from a distance, taking notes and recording behaviors. The monsters attacked as soon as alien forces began to move. Ships were destroyed, drones crushed, and soldiers scattered. The humans watched in awe. The monsters seemed to anticipate alien movements, moving with strategy rather than instinct alone. Back on the mainland, other humans were beginning to form similar observations. Soldiers learned to recognize which monsters were more likely to respond to signals, which areas were safe, and how to avoid attracting unnecessary danger. Survivors shared information through improvised networks, creating maps of monster behavior and alien activity. Humanity was slowly learning, adapting to a world where they were no longer the dominant species, but no longer powerless either. Yet danger remained constant. The alien fleet was enormous, and their attacks became more calculated. Cities burned, armies were decimated, and the psychological toll on humans was immense. Children were evacuated from urban centers, families lost homes, and entire regions became uninhabitable. But everywhere monsters appeared. In forests, mountains, rivers, and deserts, they moved with an unmistakable purpose: to protect Earth and its inhabitants. It was during one such defense that a young soldier named Jai experienced the monsters firsthand. Leading a small group of survivors through a war-torn city, they were cornered by alien patrols. The odds were hopeless. As the aliens advanced, a massive creature emerged from the rubble, a hybrid of strength and intelligence, with eyes that seemed to understand the stakes. With terrifying precision, it destroyed the alien units, saving Jai and the group. Jai felt a profound respect and gratitude for the creature. Humanity was no longer alone. Across the globe, stories like Jai's spread. News networks and social media shared accounts of monsters protecting humans, of impossible victories, and of the planet itself acting to safeguard its people. Fear did not disappear, but awe and hope began to grow. Humanity realized they were part of something greater, a living, breathing world willing to fight alongside them. Dr. Morales continued her work, coordinating observations and advising human enclaves on how to work with the monsters. She realized that humans had a choice: fight with the planet or perish without it. Survival depended on cooperation, not domination. She began training small teams of humans to recognize patterns, understand signals, and anticipate monster behavior. These teams became essential guides in the battle against the alien invaders. In one moment of quiet reflection, Morales watched a massive creature patrolling a ruined city. Its movements were deliberate, almost regal, as it scanned the surroundings. She realized that humanity had underestimated Earth for centuries. The planet was not passive. Life itself, in forms humans barely understood, had been waiting for a moment to defend itself. And now, in the face of annihilation, Earth had responded. Meanwhile, the aliens grew more desperate. Their calculations had failed. Their elite troops were destroyed. Their warships were falling. The assumption that humans were weak had led them to underestimate the resilience and ingenuity of both Earth's inhabitants and the planet's hidden guardians. Reports reached the alien commanders of monsters coordinating attacks, humans evading capture, and entire operations being sabotaged by forces they could not comprehend. Frustration turned to fear. The turning point came when humans began actively guiding monster movements. Small flares, sound signals, and coordinated actions allowed humans and monsters to fight together in ways neither could achieve alone. Villages were protected, supply routes secured, and alien patrols ambushed with remarkable efficiency. Humans had learned to trust the monsters, and the monsters, in turn, seemed to respond with intelligence and precision. By the end of the second week, humanity had begun to see a glimmer of possibility. Survival was no longer purely a matter of luck. Strategy, observation, and cooperation with Earth's monsters created opportunities to strike back. Small victories inspired hope. Children laughed cautiously in hiding, soldiers gained courage, and scientists like Morales began to map out strategies for larger operations. But the battle was far from over. The alien fleet remained massive, their technology beyond anything humans could fully counter. Entire regions were still under threat, and the monsters, though powerful, could not act in every place at once. Humanity had hope, but it was fragile as glass in a storm. As night fell across the planet, humans huddled in safe zones, listening to the distant sounds of alien ships and the occasional roar of monsters. Hope mingled with fear. Humanity had learned something essential. They were not alone, and Earth itself would fight for them. The monsters were the first sign that survival was possible, but much work remained. Humans had to adapt, learn, and become worthy partners in a battle that would decide the fate of their planet. In the silence of that night, Dr. Morales looked out over a ruined city, a giant monster moving among the rubble. She realized that the planet was alive in ways humans had never understood. Humanity was small and fragile, but together with Earth's hidden guardians, they had a chance. A chance to survive, a chance to fight, and a chance to show the galaxy that humans were not to be underestimated. And as the stars shone above, humans across the globe took their first real breaths of courage. The monsters of Earth had awakened, and humanity was beginning to rise with them. Humanity had begun to understand that survival depended on learning, adapting, and working with Earth's monsters. In cities, towns, forests, deserts, and oceans, humans were no longer passive witnesses. They were now active participants in a battle that had once seemed impossible. Soldiers, civilians, and scientists worked together, mapping monster behavior, studying alien strategies, and coordinating attacks. Every small victory gave hope, but the enemy remained vast and deadly. Dr. Alina Morales traveled constantly, visiting regions where monsters had shown unusual intelligence. She studied how they responded to threats, which signals attracted them, and how humans could guide them safely without causing harm. With each encounter, Morales noticed a growing pattern. The monsters were not just reacting instinctively, they were learning. They recognized human gestures, responded to flares and sounds, and even seemed to anticipate alien movements. Humanity was beginning to form a fragile but vital alliance with the hidden guardians of Earth. In the forests of South America, a team led by Morales observed a group of massive predators coordinating an attack. Alien drones had entered the forest, searching for human survivors. Morales and her team stayed hidden behind thick trees, watching in awe as the monsters moved with precision. One massive creature leaped to a high branch, knocking a drone from the sky. Another blocked a narrow path, forcing the alien units into a trap created by humans. The aliens were not prepared for the combined intelligence of humans and monsters, and they suffered losses they could not understand. Meanwhile, in Africa, human militias began using knowledge of monster patterns to stage ambushes. Villages that had been defenseless before now had secret safe zones, marked paths, and signals to call for monster assistance. Soldiers and civilians worked together, using traps, flares, and sound devices to guide monsters toward alien patrols. The effectiveness was extraordinary. Entire alien squads were destroyed before they could report back to the main fleet. Humanity had learned to turn fear into strategy. In Europe, Jai led a group of survivors into a ruined city to rescue civilians trapped by alien patrols. As they moved through the debris, the ground trembled beneath them. From the shadows emerged a massive creature, its scales glinting in the sunlight. It was intelligent and deliberate, circling the aliens and forcing them into tight positions. Jai and his team moved carefully, signaling the creature with flares they had learned to use. Together, humans and monster dismantled the alien forces in the city. The civilians, once terrified, now followed Jai with newfound courage. They had witnessed the impossible. The monsters were allies, and humans were capable of guiding them. Across the Pacific, a massive island operation illustrated the scale of cooperation. Multiple monsters had emerged from the jungle, the mountains, and the sea, converging on alien positions. Humans had coordinated the attacks, using signals to direct monster movements and timing strikes with precision. Alien defenses were destroyed, supply lines severed, and morale shattered. The aliens had underestimated Earth's hidden forces, and humanity was proving that courage, intelligence, and unity could overcome even the most advanced technology. Dr. Morales began to coordinate communication between global human enclaves. She established a network of scouts, messengers, and remote observers who could relay monster movements, alien attacks, and safe zones. Information flowed quickly, allowing humans to anticipate danger and coordinate monster interventions. It was imperfect, but it worked. Small victories became larger campaigns, and humans began to reclaim territory. Cities, once abandoned, became strongholds where humans and monsters coexisted. In the deserts of Australia, soldiers worked alongside enormous serpentine creatures. They moved in tandem, using the terrain to their advantage. The serpents crushed alien vehicles, guided humans safely through the dunes, and blocked incoming attacks. Soldiers adapted quickly, learning the creatures' tendencies and predicting their actions. For the first time, humans realized that Earth's monsters were not only powerful, they were partners in strategy. Humanity's ingenuity combined with monster strength created a force that the aliens could not easily defeat. Yet the aliens were relentless. They had begun deploying massive war machines and warships capable of striking entire regions. Their attacks became more coordinated, more deadly, and more frequent. But every advance was met with resistance. In oceans, titanic sea creatures tore apart alien vessels. In mountains, massive predators ambushed troops. In cities, monsters guided by human signals blocked alien attacks and saved countless lives. Humanity was learning to fight not just for survival, but to reclaim its planet. In one daring mission, Morales led a team to a frozen region in the north, where aliens had established a base to launch attacks across the hemisphere. The monsters there were enormous, covered in thick fur and armored hides. Morales and her team observed from a distance, mapping out alien positions and monster behavior. The creatures moved with intelligence, isolating alien units, crushing equipment, and protecting humans who dared to venture into the region. The operation was dangerous but successful. Alien forces were weakened, and humans gained valuable information for future battles. Back in South America, Jai's team continued to expand human-monster cooperation. They trained civilians to signal monsters, use terrain strategically, and guide small attacks against alien patrols. Villages became fortified, and humans moved with confidence. Monsters patrolled the area, responding to humans' calls and protecting settlements. The alliance was fragile but growing stronger every day. Humanity was learning not just to survive, but to fight back with intelligence and courage. Across the globe, stories of heroism and cooperation inspired hope. Children whispered about monsters as guardians, soldiers spoke of impossible victories, and scientists marveled at the hidden intelligence of Earth itself. Fear had not disappeared, but determination had taken root. Humanity realized that survival depended on courage, unity, and respect for the planet's secret defenders. In the deserts of Africa, a young girl named Amina watched a massive desert creature defend her village from alien troops. Her family had fled to safety, guided by human scouts and monster patrols. She observed the creature with wonder and gratitude, realizing that Earth itself was alive and fighting for her people. Humanity had found strength not only in their ingenuity, but in the power of their planet. As humans began to coordinate larger operations, they discovered new strategies. Small groups could signal monsters to intercept alien patrols, guide attacks on supply lines, or protect evacuation routes. Cities once thought lost could be reclaimed, and humans moved with confidence in places that had seemed hopeless. The alien invaders, though technologically superior, were now facing an unexpected reality. Earth itself was a weapon, and humanity was learning to wield it. Doctor. Morales continued to travel, observing, guiding, and advising. She realized that humans had become something more than survivors. They were students of their planet, learning to work with forces far greater than themselves. The monsters were not tools to be commanded, but partners to be understood. Humanity's respect for Earth and its hidden guardians was the key to survival and victory. In one remarkable battle, human forces guided a group of monsters to intercept a massive alien armada approaching a coastal city. Monsters from the ocean, jungle, and mountains converged, destroying alien ships and troops in ways humans could not have achieved alone. Civilians were evacuated, soldiers fought with courage, and humans and monsters worked together in harmony. It was a turning point. Humanity had proven that with strategy, courage, and cooperation, even the most advanced invaders could be resisted. Despite these victories, challenges remained. Alien fleets still dominated the skies, warships threatened cities, and advanced technology made every operation dangerous. But humanity had learned something critical. They were not alone, and Earth itself would fight for them. Monsters were no longer random or unpredictable. They were allies. Humans had become strategic, adaptive, and fearless in the face of overwhelming odds. The turning point came when humans began coordinating global efforts. Scouts relayed information about monster movements, alien patrols, and safe zones. Survivors in cities, forests, deserts, and oceans shared observations and strategies. Humans learned to guide monsters, anticipate attacks, and reclaim territory. Every small victory added to their confidence. Humanity was becoming a force that the aliens could not easily defeat. In the skies above, alien commanders grew increasingly frustrated. Their elite troops were destroyed, their strategies failed, and their technological superiority was no longer enough. The assumption that humans were weak had been shattered. The monsters of Earth, once thought mythical or extinct, had awakened. And humanity, once considered insignificant, was learning to fight alongside them with intelligence, courage, and strategy. By the end of the third week, humanity had begun to see a clear pattern. Survival was possible. Small victories had grown into larger campaigns, and humans had begun reclaiming territory with monster support. Fear remained, but it was balanced by courage, hope, and the growing understanding that Earth itself had chosen to defend its people. In the midst of a ruined city, Jai and his team coordinated with a massive predator, guiding it to intercept an alien patrol. Civilians watched in awe as humans and monsters worked together seamlessly. Soldiers adapted quickly, civilians learned to observe and signal, and monsters acted with intelligence and precision. Humanity had discovered a new way to fight, one that combined courage, strategy, and respect for the hidden power of their planet. Doctor. Morales observed all of this and realized that Earth had provided humanity with its greatest weapon, the monsters that had always lived in its shadows. Humans were no longer passive or weak. They had become partners with the forces of their world. Survival depended on cooperation, courage, and intelligence. Victory was still uncertain, but hope burned brighter than ever before. As night fell across the planet, humans huddled in safe zones, listening to distant roars of monsters and the hum of alien warships. The battle was far from over, but humanity had learned to fight, not alone but with Earth itself. Monsters roamed forests, deserts, oceans, and mountains, protecting humans and striking fear into alien forces. Humanity had begun to rise with them, not as victims, but as allies in a war for survival. And as the stars shone above, humans across the globe took their first true breaths of courage. They had faced the impossible, learned to cooperate with the hidden guardians of their planet, and discovered a strength they had never known. Humanity was no longer insignificant. Earth had awakened, and together, humans and monsters were becoming a force that even the galaxy would notice. The planet had shifted. Humanity was no longer a weak species hiding from superior invaders. They had begun to fight alongside Earth's monsters, and every victory brought new confidence. But the alien fleet remained enormous, their warships capable of destroying entire cities, their soldiers trained to annihilate resistance. The next phase of the war would test the limits of human courage and the planet's hidden guardians. Dr. Elena Morales stood on a cliff overlooking a valley in South America, where humans had gathered with monsters to stage a major operation. From the valley below, a massive river wound through the dense forest, and along its banks, enormous creatures moved with power and precision. Humans had prepared signals, flares, and sound devices to guide the monsters during the battle. For weeks, Morales and her team had coordinated every detail. This was humanity's chance to strike back decisively. Across the world, similar preparations were underway. Soldiers in Europe positioned themselves in ruined cities, using tall buildings as vantage points. Scouts in Africa moved through deserts, marking paths and preparing traps for alien patrols. Even in the icy north, humans coordinated with massive fur-covered predators, ready to strike alien supply lines. The monsters responded to the calls with intelligence and timing that amazed even the most experienced military leaders. The first wave of alien ships arrived over South America. They descended with terrifying speed, their energy weapons tearing through the treetops. Civilians huddled in hiding, heartbeats quick with fear. Then, as planned, the monsters emerged. From the river, from the forest, and from the mountains, they appeared in coordinated positions. The largest among them roared, shaking the ground and challenging the invaders. Humans signaled with flares and sound devices, guiding the monsters toward the alien units. The battle was intense. Alien warships fired beams of energy that shredded trees and rocks, yet the monsters moved with speed and precision. A massive sea creature rose from the river, smashing alien drones and overturning supply boats. Predators from the forest ambushed ground troops, while aerial monsters attacked from above, forcing the aliens into chaos. Soldiers and civilians acted with courage, guiding monsters, firing at alien units, and rescuing trapped survivors. Humanity had learned to fight not as individuals, but as part of a planetary alliance. In Africa, a similar scene unfolded. Desert serpents struck alien patrols with crushing force. Human scouts led them toward hidden traps where explosives had been placed to block reinforcements. Civilians guided monsters toward danger zones using flares and smoke signals. The aliens, though technologically advanced, could not adapt quickly enough. Entire squads were wiped out, and morale plummeted. Humanity was proving that courage, intelligence, and cooperation with Earth's hidden forces could overcome even the most advanced invaders. In Europe, soldiers led massive monsters through ruined cities, using narrow streets to channel alien troops into traps. Buildings collapsed around them as energy weapons struck, yet humans moved with determination, signaling monsters to strike at critical points. Civilians watched from hidden shelters, inspired by the courage of humans and monsters alike. Each victory, no matter how small, gave hope that survival was possible and that Earth's defenders were willing to fight. In the icy north, Dr. Morales observed fur-covered predators intercept alien supply convoys. Humans had positioned flares and signals along frozen rivers, guiding monsters toward alien vehicles. Explosions shook the ice, but the monsters moved with intelligence, destroying the enemy without harming humans. For the first time, humans began to understand the strategic advantage of Earth's hidden creatures. They were not mindless beasts. They were partners capable of executing complex maneuvers when guided. The turning point of the battle came when the alien commanders activated a doomsday device, a massive weapon capable of destroying entire regions in a single strike. Panic spread among human enclaves. Civilians ran, soldiers scrambled to respond, and even the monsters seemed uncertain for a moment. But humans did not surrender. Morales coordinated signals across the globe, guiding monsters toward the device and alien warships. Soldiers and civilians acted in unison, creating diversions, blocking reinforcements, and protecting critical positions. In South America, the monsters attacked the alien warships guarding the doomsday device. Massive predators destroyed energy weapons, while a sea creature smashed into the ship carrying the weapon's core. Humans guided the attacks, timing flares and sounds to coincide with monster movements. The aliens were stunned. Their advanced calculations and strategies could not anticipate the coordination between humans and monsters. For every attack they launched, there was a counterstrike that left them vulnerable. Meanwhile, in Africa, desert serpents intercepted reinforcements trying to reach the doomsday weapon. Humans used smoke signals and flares to guide the monsters into ambushes, where explosives and traps amplified their attacks. Entire alien squads were eliminated, slowing the advance of their forces and giving humans time to plan the next move. Civilians worked alongside soldiers, moving supplies, marking paths, and signaling monsters. Humanity had become a strategic force, fighting not just for survival, but to reclaim their planet. In Europe, aerial monsters swooped down on alien warships, while humans coordinated movements from tall vantage points. Civilians took part in guiding monsters, moving through destroyed streets with courage that inspired soldiers. Buildings collapsed under alien fire, but humans adapted, using debris as cover and turning it into strategic advantage. Each strike weakened the alien forces and brought humans closer to reclaiming control. As the battle continued, humans realized the monsters were responding not only to danger, but to their strategic guidance. They moved as if understanding the stakes, protecting humans while striking at the enemy. Soldiers marveled at the intelligence displayed. Civilians who had once fled in terror now moved with confidence, guiding monsters and taking part in operations that would have been impossible a few weeks before. Humanity had learned to fight as one with their planet, and the results were extraordinary. In a daring move, Morales led a team to the alien doomsday device itself. The monsters provided protection, crushing alien guards and intercepting reinforcements. Soldiers and civilians worked to disable the device, using knowledge gained from observing alien technology and monster behavior. Explosions rocked the facility, and alarms blared, but humanity pressed on. Courage, intelligence, and unity drove them forward. Finally, with monsters guarding the perimeter and humans working in coordination, the doomsday device was disabled. Alien warships above fired desperately, but monsters attacked from below, forcing them to retreat. Soldiers and civilians cheered, though the battle was far from over. Humanity had struck a major blow, demonstrating that even the most powerful alien technology could not overcome the combination of human ingenuity and Earth's hidden guardians. In the oceans, massive sea creatures destroyed alien supply ships, preventing reinforcements from reaching the battlefields. On land, forest predators ambushed alien troops, and aerial monsters forced warships to retreat. Across the globe, humans and monsters fought in unison, striking at every weak point in the alien formations. The planet itself had become a weapon, and humanity had learned to wield it with courage, intelligence, and unity. Despite these victories, humans remained cautious. The aliens were still formidable, their fleet vast, and their technology advanced. But humanity had learned something essential. They were not alone, and Earth itself would fight for them. Monsters, once thought mythical or extinct, had awakened and become allies. Humans had become partners in strategy, guiding the hidden power of their planet in a way that even the aliens could not predict. The battle continued for days, with humans and monsters coordinating strikes across multiple continents. Each victory boosted morale. Civilians learned to signal monsters effectively, soldiers adapted tactics based on monster behavior, and scientists like Morales developed new strategies. Humanity was no longer passive. They were now an active, intelligent, and courageous force capable of challenging the alien invaders. As the dust settled, survivors gathered to witness the results. Cities were scarred but liberated, forests and deserts were safer, and alien forces were in retreat. The monsters returned to their natural habitats, but humans knew they were ready to respond again if needed. The alliance between humans and Earth's hidden guardians had proven its strength, and humanity realized that they could survive and even thrive in the face of overwhelming odds. Dr. Morales looked out over a valley where the final strike had occurred. Massive predators moved among the rubble, guiding humans to safety, while aerial monsters patrolled the skies. She realized that humanity had become more than survivors. They had become partners with the forces of their planet. Courage, intelligence, and unity had transformed fear into strategy, weakness into strength. Humanity was no longer insignificant. Across the world, humans celebrated their victories, but they remained vigilant. The alien fleet was not destroyed, only delayed. Future battles would be necessary, but humanity had learned that cooperation with Earth's monsters could turn the tide. Civilians, soldiers, and scientists worked together to rebuild, prepare, and strengthen their defenses. The planet itself had chosen to fight alongside its people, and humans had proven they could rise to the challenge. In the quiet moments of the night, the sounds of monsters moving through forests, deserts, and oceans reminded humans of the power that had awakened. Earth was alive, intelligent, and willing to defend its children. Humanity had learned to trust, respect, and guide these guardians, and the bond between humans and monsters had grown stronger with each battle. As the stars shone above, humans across the globe felt something they had never known: hope, courage, and pride. They had faced impossible odds, learned to fight alongside creatures of unimaginable power, and struck a decisive blow against alien invaders. The war was not over, but humanity had discovered its true strength: intelligence, courage, and unity with the hidden power of their planet. And so, as the dust settled and night fell, humans and monsters alike prepared for the battles yet to come. The planet had responded, and humanity had risen to meet the challenge. They were no longer victims. They were warriors of Earth, ready to fight for their world, their people, and their place in the galaxy. The alien fleet was battered, its warships damaged, and its troops scattered across Earth's surface. For weeks, humanity had fought alongside the planet's hidden monsters, learning to survive, adapt, and strike back with intelligence and courage. Yet the aliens still held numbers and firepower, and one final confrontation remained. Humanity knew that victory would not be given. It had to be earned through courage, strategy, and the strength of their alliance with Earth itself. Dr. Elena Morales stood on a high ridge, overlooking the ruins of a city that had seen countless battles. Monsters moved below, patrolling streets, rivers, and forests. Humans, soldiers, and civilians alike prepared signals, flares, and strategic placements to guide the creatures where they were needed most. It was humanity's moment to prove that fear could be turned into strength, that intelligence and courage could overcome the mightiest of enemies. Across the globe, preparations were underway. In the forests of South America, massive predators positioned themselves along alien supply routes. In the deserts of Africa, serpents and armored beasts coiled and moved silently, ready to strike. In the oceans, titanic creatures patrolled, ensuring alien reinforcements could not reach key battle zones. In Europe and Asia, humans coordinated with aerial monsters, using sound, light, and flares to direct their attacks. Every human and monster had a role to play. Earth itself had become a weapon, and humanity had learned how to wield it. The aliens were aware of the scale of resistance they faced, but they remained determined. Their commanders activated their most elite troops and warships, intent on crushing the human-monster alliance once and for all. Energy beams lit up the skies, warships descended from orbit, and alien soldiers moved with deadly precision. The world seemed on the brink of destruction. But humanity did not falter. Across continents, people moved with courage and determination, guiding monsters, coordinating strikes, and rescuing civilians. In South America, a massive valley became the epicenter of the final battle. Aliens had established a command center there, protected by warships and advanced ground units. Humans had positioned themselves in the forests and hills surrounding the valley, while monsters patrolled the approaches. Flare signals were ready, sound devices prepared, and civilians hidden in safe zones. Dr. Morales coordinated with local leaders, ensuring that every move was precise, every strike timed to maximize the impact of the monster's power. The first wave of alien troops moved into the valley, confident and deadly. But monsters emerged from the trees, rivers, and cliffs, striking with incredible speed and power. Predators tore through ground forces, aerial creatures ambushed warships, and massive sea creatures crushed supply lines. Humans signaled the monsters with flares and sounds, guiding them with precision. The aliens were unprepared for such coordination. Their calculations and strategies failed against a force they could not predict. Meanwhile, in Africa, humans and monsters worked in tandem to block reinforcements. Desert serpents ambushed alien convoys, crushing vehicles and soldiers alike. Humans used smoke, fire, and flares to guide the creatures into perfect positions. Entire alien squads were eliminated before they could respond. Civilians moved with courage, relaying signals, helping to guide monsters and assisting in rescue operations. Humanity had become a force of strategy, courage, and unity that the aliens could not easily overcome. In the oceans, titanic sea creatures attacked alien ships attempting to escape or reinforce other battle zones. Humans coordinated from nearby islands, guiding monsters to the most critical targets. Explosions rocked the water, and alien crews struggled to respond. Supply lines were severed, morale plummeted, and the alien commanders began to realize the scale of the challenge. Humanity and Earth's hidden guardians were not merely surviving, they were taking the fight to the invaders. Back in Europe and Asia, aerial monsters swooped down on alien warships, striking with precision and speed. Humans coordinated attacks from ruined towers and mountains, guiding the creatures with flares and sound. Civilians observed in awe as monsters moved with intelligence, anticipating alien maneuvers and protecting humans. Humanity's courage and strategic thinking amplified the power of Earth's creatures, turning the planet itself into a force no alien technology could match. As the battle raged, the aliens realized the futility of their approach. Their elite troops were destroyed, warships were retreating, and their doomsday devices were neutralized. For the first time, alien commanders faced an enemy they could not dominate. Humans united with the planet itself. Desperation set in, and their communications became frantic. They had assumed humanity was weak, helpless, and easily conquered. They had been wrong. In the epicenter of the battle, Morales and Jai led a team to the alien command center. Massive monsters protected their advance, crushing alien guards and intercepting reinforcements. Soldiers and civilians worked together, clearing debris, guiding monsters, and disabling alien equipment. Explosions rocked the building, and alarms blared, but humanity pressed on. Every step forward was a testament to courage, intelligence, and unity. Earth itself was fighting alongside its people, and the aliens could not stop it. Finally, the alien commanders had no choice. They sent emissaries to humanity, pleading for mercy. Their fleet was shattered, their troops decimated, and their technology had failed. For the first time, they understood the strength they had underestimated. Humanity, backed by the monsters of Earth, had proven that courage, strategy, and cooperation with the planet itself could defeat even the most advanced forces. Dr. Morales met the alien emissaries, her presence a symbol of humanity's resilience. The aliens begged for surrender terms, explaining that they had underestimated the intelligence, adaptability, and courage of humans, as well as the power of Earth's hidden guardians. Morales listened, her expression calm but resolute. Humanity had survived, and the aliens would leave, not because of brute force alone, but because they had been outmatched by the combination of human ingenuity and Earth's awakening defenders. Across the planet, the last alien ships retreated. Monsters returned to their natural habitats, patrolling forests, oceans, deserts, and mountains. Humans worked to rebuild cities, recover lost lives, and strengthen communities. The bond between humans and monsters had grown stronger than ever. The planet itself had responded to the cries of its people, awakening forces that humanity had never imagined. Survival had been earned through courage, intelligence, and respect for the world they called home. Children returned to schools, laughter once again echoing in streets and towns. Soldiers trained not just for defense, but to honor the creatures who had fought alongside them. Scientists continued to study the monsters, learning from them and understanding the intelligence and purpose they displayed. Humanity had gained not just victory, but knowledge, unity, and a renewed respect for the planet that had nurtured them. In the oceans, massive sea creatures patrolled coastal waters, ensuring that no alien forces could return unnoticed. In the deserts, serpents and armored beasts moved silently, guarding critical regions. In forests and mountains, predators protected human settlements, their movements coordinated and intelligent. Humanity had learned to live in harmony with the planet's hidden guardians, recognizing that survival depended on cooperation, courage, and understanding. The aliens had learned their lesson. They had assumed Earth was weak, but they had been wrong. Humanity was no longer a species to be conquered. They were clever, courageous, and united with the forces of their planet. The galaxy would remember that humans were not to be underestimated. Earth itself had become a fortress, and its hidden monsters were guardians of the future. As night fell across the globe, humans and monsters alike rested. The sounds of creatures moving through forests, rivers, deserts, and oceans reminded everyone that Earth had responded. The planet was alive, intelligent, and willing to defend its people. Humanity had faced impossible odds, and with courage, strategy, and unity, they had triumphed. Dr. Morale stood on a ridge once more, watching monsters patrol the valleys below. She realized that humanity had become more than survivors. They were partners with the hidden power of their world. They had fought not just with weapons, but with courage, intelligence, and respect for Earth's guardians. The planet had responded, and humans had risen to meet the challenge. Across the globe, humans celebrated quietly but with pride. Cities had been reclaimed, communities were rebuilding, and the aliens had retreated. Humanity had proven its strength, resilience, and worth. The monsters of Earth had responded to the call, and humanity had learned to fight alongside them. The bond between humans and their planet's hidden guardians was unbreakable, a symbol of hope, courage, and unity. In the quiet moments, children watched the skies and forests, dreaming of a future where humans and monsters lived in harmony. Soldiers and civilians alike shared stories of courage, heroism, and the battles they had survived. Scientists continued their studies, learning from monsters and uncovering the hidden intelligence of Earth itself. Humanity had faced the impossible and emerged stronger, wiser, and united with their planet in a way that would never be forgotten. And so, Earth stood victorious. The aliens had begged for mercy, but humanity had shown them what courage, intelligence, and unity could achieve. The monsters returned to their hidden homes, yet their presence remained, a silent promise that Earth would always defend its people. Humanity had risen not just as survivors, but as champions of their planet. They had faced the galaxy's greatest threat and proven that humans were not to be underestimated. The stars shone above, reflecting on oceans, forests, deserts, and mountains. Humans looked up with pride, knowing they had earned survival, victory, and respect, not only for themselves, but for the planet that had fought alongside them. Earth's monsters were no longer legends. They were allies, protectors, and a symbol of the strength that had awakened within humanity. The battle was over. The war had been won. And humanity, united with the guardians of their world, had proven that courage, intelligence, and unity could overcome even the greatest of enemies. Earth had responded, and the humans of the planet had risen to claim their place among the stars.